Good day, everyone. Welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread, and I am your Miss Lord. If you don't know what that means, check out all the channels listed down below. We are under the umbrella of Miss Valley Arts and Entertainment. We do gaming. All right. We are going to react to a video I have not watched yet. This is by Esteldan. I appreciate one of his other videos, so we're tackling this again. Esteldan, thank you so much for your work. This is called And this is what it's called: Pathetic Starfield Fanboys Meltdown After Bethesda's Latest PR Nightmare. So let's see what this is about. Roll it, Esteldan.
It was yet another bad day for Bethesda as one of their devs,
A lot of those lately.
their story lead, Mr. Emil, he tried to take critics to task. He essentially tried to say that if you criticize Starfield, you're wrong because you're not a developer, and therefore you don't understand what goes into their games.
Can you imagine somebody saying, as a consumer, you don't know what you like or what you don't like or why you do or don't like it because you're not the maker of this product? Kind of ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous and kind of insulting and kind of stupid. I try to imagine, if Larian Studios took this tact with Baldur's Gate 3. I'm trying to think, did they, not really listen to the people, the fans, and just kind of do their own thing, and that's how they head out on this great game, end up being Game of the Year? No, that's not. In fact, that's kind of the opposite way they did it. I'm hoping the Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year win shows some developers that maybe there's another way of doing this. I'm also hoping some of the people stop supporting the developers who do these other things that are the exact opposite of what a good game developer and designer should be doing. We need to turn the tide, people. We need to turn the tide. And your wallets are going to speak loud and clear. Sam.
You should even just be grateful that Starfield exists. It's a miracle at all that a game gets produced, therefore you should accept a low-quality endeavor. Of course, just about anyone with two brain cells to rub together, they disagreed with him. They called his point nonsense.
Kids, don't rub your brain cells together, kids. That's not a good idea. Don't decide you have one too many brain cells and decide to kill some with alcohol so you only have one brain cell and doesn't rub on other things. Don't do that either, because that's a really bad idea. And Trent, not time for you to talk now. Let's go back to actual gaming entertainment news. Trent, everybody. He's the evil monkey who lives rent free in my head. Okay, getting back to it. Yeah, Bethesda bad, everybody else good. Take it.
They acknowledge that he's probably just salty because no one likes his work on the game. His
Probably partially
own writing sucks. And these are points that just about everyone agrees with. I say just about because there is this no sodium Starfield Reddit community. This
What?
is a place.
There's a Reddit. Okay. Oh, is this the Reddit I've heard of? No sodium Starfield. Is this the Reddit where you can only be a Starfield fan if you say any bad thing, they boot you out? Is this the one? I've heard about this.
For people who are very upset. They can't handle that their favourite game they've waited so long for, it's getting criticised. They want a hive mind where they can only discuss the game positively, and if you don't agree, you will be banned.
That's the one. Wow, I never actually known anybody to actually tackle this before. I've just heard rumors about this. This sounds a lot like people who need safe spaces, who will attack anyone who they feel threatens their existence or their way of thinking in any way, to the point of having that person fired, tarred and feathered, and shot. And not far off on that. Who will say, "How dare you insult my opinion by having another one? So I'm going to effing kill you." These people who think that way in general, I'm not saying on this Reddit, but I think in general, are dangerous lunatics. Okay? And if you are one, give your head a shake, get help.
These people have been discussing Mr. Emil's comments from yesterday, and they have a slightly different take from everyone else. They think he's very sensible, that he's very justified in saying that you can't criticize a game unless you're a professional developer.
Wow.
That is the only take that is acceptable.
Are you kidding me?
And if we have a look here,
you're not kidding me.
Comments. All of the people who try to make games and fail are still accomplishing more than everyone who sits around on social media complaining about them. This is just more of a meal.
Hey, while we're doing this, let's just take a gander at all these names and remember them. We should write these down because some of these will probably be popping up in comments on YouTube and elsewhere, and we need to remember who these people are so we can say, you know how you don't like to have anybody who thinks any different around you? Well, we're just going to delete and ban you. So be careful of these people because they'll just lie to your face.
Is the same argument that you can't criticize games, they're a miracle for existing in the first place, and you're probably sitting in mum's basement. You've got no right to say anything
That's ridiculous.
bad. That is just more coping. Most people interested in Bethesda games these days, they're not kids, they're adults. Most of us work jobs, and Bethesda games were a source of great entertainment. For many, it's been years since they've got a proper Bethesda single-player RPG. It's been Fallout 4 back in 2015, and even that probably wasn't the best for most people. So it's been about 8 years since we've experienced what we truly want out of these sorts of titles. And they waited a while for Starfield. Todd Howard with his marketing and his promises. Oh, there's going to be 1,000 planets. It's going to be amazing. We understandably expected something great, and we got a game that felt like it was past its use-by date on day one. Most of the people who are interested in this game, they are working professionals, they don't work in games, they probably often work in industries that are much more important than games.
Yeah, they're probably there, like NASA scientists, they're like, I don't know, government officials, they're bankers, they're multi-million-dollar business owners, they run car dealerships. They own houses on the beach. They drive around in Ferraris and pick up women in bikinis. But yeah, no, they're not allowed to have any sign of say at all because they're not a game developer. Well, that's ridiculous, but it's just as ridiculous to say that you or I somehow are less than and underneath these game developers, and we should not have any kind of opinion that's voiced. That's or that any opinion we have is wrong. That's such a ridiculous take. That is such a ridiculous take.
Development, health, other services that we need. And you're trying to imply their accomplishments mean nothing because they've got nothing to do with games? Get out of here. And here's ridiculous. Another one. There are plenty of people who play it and plenty of people who love it or even just like it. Only Microsoft and Bethesda know exactly how many, though. Being in the top 10 most played games on Xbox since launch until this week. Even with it being free on Game Pass day one and releasing late in the year, it broke into the top 10 most sold games of the year. I personally believe this game is going to age like a fine wine. Wow, it's going to age like wine. Does anyone think that Starfield is going to be spoken about, played in 3, 5, 10 years?
Nope.
In any sort of positive way.
Nope.
It's going to be that game that people remember as the joke, as the punching bag. If we think about colossal failures, it's very similar to, say, Anthem from BioWare.
I agree.
At the time, BioWare was still a studio that people held out hope for. It was an RPG games company. Many people have fond memories of Knights of the Old Republic, the Mass Effect trilogy, Dragon Age Origins. People had some hope for Anthem. Once it released, all of the hype, all of the
it all went away.
BioWare, it went away.
That is
overnight.
so true.
That studio is seen as a joke now. There is
Fortunately,
a fourth Dragon Age game supposedly coming, Dragon Age Red Wolf. It's crickets, tumbleweeds. No one cares about the game because...
Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people who follow that. I know because I put out a video announcing the fact that it was available now on Steam to wish list. And I got a lot of people looking at it. So that's not true. A lot of people are still interested, but instead of being hyped about it, people are very cautious now. They are worried. They are, I really hope this game is good, but because BioWare. And this is what Bethesda has now done to themselves through the last, through the last 3 games, because Fallout 4 wasn't panned as a great game. It was panned as a step back. Still a decent game, but a step back. Okay? Fallout 76, obviously, freaking disaster. And Starfield, I'm sorry, just as big a disaster. I'm sorry again for those of you who love the game. And you know what? Every game, there's people who love it. So I get it.
Because the studio fell off a cliff, and that's when interest dies. The same thing is happening with Bethesda.
Yep.
The Elder Scrolls 6, sure, there'll be interest. And there'll be casual fans who never played Starfield. They don't even
cautiously
really know
optimistic on Elder Scrolls 6.
Who will just pre-order Elder Scrolls 6 on name alone. It's sad, but we know it's true. But if Elder Scrolls 6 goes the same way as Starfield, if they totally cock up the exploration,
goodbye,
that is
Bethesda.
going to be it. That will be the final nail in the coffin.
I agree.
Even with the normies. Now, something went very wrong here because someone slightly normal has wandered into this community and made a comment. They're certainly going to get banned at any moment. And they say, I mean, in all honesty, I know game design is much more complicated, but players don't really care, referring to Emil's ridiculous comments. They want to play a fun game. We want to play a fun game, not Starfield. We don't want to play a game that's kind of boring and then get told that it's harder than we make it out to be, the development. What he says is correct, however, Starfield lacks features from their own games, and Bethesda just hasn't kept up with the times.
Yeah, that's true.
The game could have been much more.
Very true.
And then we get the response. Well, I've had over 600 hours of fun playing it, and I still have so many quests left that I can do. It has so many features I've been wanting in a game for ages.
Really? It has so many features you've been wanting in a game for ages. What? Not reading ahead. I'm just saying. What are the features? Ship building and base building? You've never played any game where you can ship build or base build? I'm curious as to whether the person who's responding is like 12. Because there's a lot of games you can do either of those. What are the other mechanics of Starfield that people talk about in a good light? Wait. Don't shout them all out at once. Wait a minute. Okay. There was base building. Oh, damn it. That was already there. Because the players really like to land on an empty planet and spend resources building a base that they could sit in alone on an empty planet, and then they're like, "This is my base," and then there's more. There's okay. We had the shipbuilding, the base building, shipbuilding. Shipbuilding's really, really good in Starfield. You're right. Everybody talks about shipbuilding and how amazing it is. There's a whole bunch of bugs with ships where you get in certain ships and you get bugs where your game crashes the desktop or stops working, and the ships, you don't really fly in the ships. I mean, even in space battles, your ship basically just is there, and then there's like a piece of paper in front of you, right? And you're here, and there's paper here, and that's your background. So it's kind of like this, and then you're facing this way though, and then the background just moves around, making you kind of almost sort of maybe feel like you're in motion, but not really. So that's really good, and those are the only functions people talk about, people. That's it, and they are both shoddily done. Okay, they're shoddily done, and they're pretty crappy.
adventures. I'm a multiverse space demigod who travels around helping people.
Oh, he's clearly
Fighting
12
bad
years
guys,
old.
crafting awesome spaceships, modifying
Johnny GFX, if you are 13 years or older, I will buy you a beer, sir, because you're not.
my gear and weapons, and I absolutely love it. I do have to wonder with these people.
And he did, of course, get the game for free on Game Pass. His parents bought for him. Where he, sits in his room by himself, screams at his mom to bring him dinner, and then to get the fuck out of his room, and, doesn't go to school, he doesn't get along with anybody else, and, he watches things on TV and, screams at the TV and throws things through it because he can't handle reality. Yeah, that's clearly Johnny GFX.
Because it seems like what they imagine in their heads, it doesn't translate to what's actually going on the screen.
I would agree.
In the game.
I would agree.
It just seems like you could put this person in a box, in a cold, dank cell, and they would tell you they're having fun because they imagine things in their mind that were going on but weren't really a part of reality.
Esteldan, I like you, sir. I really do. I enjoy your stuff. Thank you. That's why I'm subscribed. You should be too.
This is what these people are doing with Starfield. You're not a demigod, you're a fool inside of a fictional world, and all these adventures, they don't really happen. You're going through loading screens, fast traveling, a mini-map. None of what you're talking about translates into the game, onto the screen that you're looking at. It's all in your head. You've imagined this grand experience, but it doesn't exist. Bethesda didn't put it into the game. You're imagining things. And he goes on to...
That's the power of imagination, where if you want a game to be good, you will tell yourself it's good, you will act like it's good, you will speak like it's good, and you're going to convince yourself it's good. And I think that's what some of these people have done. I'm not saying everyone who likes Starfield has done that. Some people just honestly enjoy it. They just have, try to be nice, a different level of expectation that some people had maybe for the game. They're like, well, I wasn't ever expecting anything superb. This is pretty much what on par with what I was expecting, or it's on par with what I played before. So it's cool. Or it's better than anything I've played before, because I've only played Pokemon. I don't know. People, that's fine. But I would agree that there are definitely some people, this is just all in their heads, and maybe they just aren't right in the head. Honestly, maybe they aren't.
Say, does it have warts? Yes, all games do. Does it have room to grow? Yes, of course, all games do. This game is much more, and you don't get to tell me. You don't get to tell me or anyone else whether it is fun or not. This old chestnut, yes, all games can improve. The issue with Starfield is it has no strengths. Even the areas you were referring to, fighting bad guys, crafting, none of those are strengths in the game. Modifying my gear and weapons, there's literally like 3 unique guns in Starfield. It might look like there's heaps, but there's only 3 different ways of guns actually mechanically working. It's all an illusion, and the melee combat...
Preach it, Esteldan. He knows what he's talking about when he attacks this game and these people for saying things that aren't true. He knows what he's talking about. That's why I like him. He's passionate. I can deal with that.
That is atrocious. What are they going to do in the Elder Scrolls 6? You can say if it's fun for you or not. And if this isn't the game for you, then find the game that is.
Well, that makes sense.
If you want them to add stuff to it, here's the suggestion box.
Because Bethesda is great at taking your suggestions to heart. Look at all the people telling them to fix the rain-breaking bugs. They have no idea how to fix a game-breaking bug. They're waiting for you to fix it.
What, so they can wipe their ass with our feedback, which is what they've been doing all of this time?
Yeah.
We tried to make our feedback heard. Look at the Steam reviews, mixed, down from very positive. And you can bet money that the reviews on Steam that were the thumbs up, most of them were made when there was still hype for the game. Before it released, people were positive. They wanted to like Starfield. They didn't set out to hate it. And a lot of people jumped in, immediately gave it a positive review because it wasn't completely broken, for instance. But as time went on, reality set in, people...
a lot of people probably who jumped in at 10 hours of play and gave it a positive review because they're still playing it.
realize that they wasted their money and reviews have been going down. So people have been telling Bethesda. But instead of taking that feedback on board, they've been arguing with us. They've been replying back, dismissing it, you're playing the game wrong. Even this very comment that you're making, it refers to a post where the dev said that criticism isn't valid because we're not game developers. What are you talking about? We're not going to wait.
I mean, is criticisms and suggestions that different? Developer says, I don't want your criticism because you're not a game developer. I don't have to listen to you. And this person's saying, no, put stuff in the suggestion box so they can make changes. Do these things not clash against each other? Like two brain cells butting together? Not now, Trent. Two brain cells butting together in the night. Oh, let's move on.
Waste our time with a suggestion box. Get out of here. Now, if you don't mind, I'm tracking down another snow globe for
like
my
his Queen's
collection
voice.
while I let Sarah ruminate
Oh,
on her
hello, I'm the
past until I'm
Queen.
ready to help her work through it.
I'm sorry. She's gone. Is that too early?
Find a game you like. Yeah, mate, I think you're living in a snow globe. The only way you can have fun with this and live in this deluded world is if you're in some sort of asylum. You're in your own snow globe, like that New Heart sitcom, I think it was. I've never seen it, but I've heard about it. This person gets even more deluded. They have kept with the times, evolving a Bethesda game. They are... I'm gonna have to translate, this person's illiterate. All these outdated style posts are just a way of saying, I like non-Bethesda style games. What? Starfield is not like other Bethesda games. The issue people have is that it isn't like a Skyrim, that you can't explore a grand
Or a
world.
Fallout, really.
They've totally
It is
changed
kind of
it.
like a
They've
Fallout,
lost
but not
all
really.
their strengths. Trying to cope and act like, people just wanted a different style of game. But this is Bethesda. They make their own...
Sorry, I should say it is more like Fallout than it is Skyrim, for sure. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Style of RPGs. The uniqueness is gone. That's where the anger's coming from, because we got this turd instead of a traditional Bethesda RPG. We lost something. We lost a potential Elder Scrolls 6.
Hello, I'm Todd
potential
Howard from
Fallout
Bethesda.
5
Here's your
that's
turd.
Similar to a
Enjoy
Morrowind
it.
Fallout 3. Instead, we got Starfield. Why doesn't Bethesda make a non-Bethesda game for me? To which I say no. I want a Bethesda-style game from Bethesda. Well, you must be feeling pretty let down, because Starfield is anything but that. It is not a traditional Bethesda game. I feel sorry for you. You must be feeling pretty down. If I wanted a BioWare game, I'd play a BioWare game. No, you wouldn't. Their games are pretty shit now, let's be real. This last one is something special, because this community, pretty much anyone who's positive about Starfield, they claim that they just want to have fun playing it and they're sick of the haters, but these people literally have PTSD around Starfield hate, and if they even catch a whiff of anyone saying anything slightly negative, anything constructive, they fly into a panic. So these people got into an argument about Cyberpunk and how it was a letdown, and they're referring to Cyberpunk here when they say, with Cyberpunk, they fixed some stuff, but the game isn't even close to what they promised for years.
I disagree. It
they
is now.
They said that Cyberpunk would be a Bethesda-style game. What are you talking about?
They never said that.
Where you can role play as corpse, trauma teams, gangs,
He never
live
said that.
Whatever life you
What?
want. What sort of world are you living in? No one thought Cyberpunk was going to be like a Bethesda game. They might have thought
No.
it was going to be like a GTA. When did Bethesda come into it? Jesus. And he goes on to say, none of that Bethesda stuff is in the game, lol. Ironically, Starfield actually allows you to do a lot of what Cyberpunk promised. It's absurd. What? Imagine trying...
What? Everything they're saying makes zero sense. My gosh. Signal adeptness 724. Oh, they think they're very adept. Well, they think their signal is just above us, probably.
To pretend that Starfield is more reactive than Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's a pretty good game now. Starfield is never going to get there. It's impossible.
No.
But that isn't even the best bit, because someone responds to him, and he is clearly shitting on Cyberpunk. He's trying to prop up Starfield here. It's a pro-Starfield post. But this person says, oh well, I still like it and feel like I got my money's worth already. But he's referring to Starfield, So he's got super defensive, super upset, thinking that person was shitting on Starfield. But they weren't. They were trying to prop it up. And the person defends themselves. This is that same person who was defending Starfield, trying to say it does things that Cyberpunk couldn't. And he says, me too. I'm just saying people are giving Bethesda shit and forgiving a lot with Cyberpunk. It's not even close to what they said it'll be, and it will never be. And that other upset person says, oh, I see. I honestly misread your comment. I thought you had a less reasonable take than you actually did.
Oh my
So he was
gosh.
melting down, getting upset. He thought, no, someone is criticizing Starfield, even when they weren't. These people are looking for problems. This goes for most people who are pro Starfield. They pretend that they're reasonable. They just want to have fun. Everyone's wrecking them. But really, they are super mad. They catch a whiff of anyone criticizing their magnum opus, their dream game, and you must be stopped. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the...
So that was Esteldan's take on pathetic Starfield fanboys meltdown after Bethesda's latest PR nightmare. People, what do you think? And again, I encourage you, check out the link down below to the original video. If you like Esteldan's stuff, subscribe to him. Drop in and tell him that Dread from Miss Valley Entertainment News told you to stop in and check out his stuff. Appreciate that. Maybe then he'll know who I am and say hello or send people my way too. Hey, we go. It's great to help out others in this business. Not the way I make money, but it's really not. YouTube is not a place where I want to be making enemies. It's a place where I want to be making lifelong friends and helping others. That's what we should be doing out here. And I've experienced a lot of that in my time on YouTube. Also experienced a few assholes, and a lot of them were people who have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, sometimes millions of subscribers, and they seem to have forgotten what it's like to be a little guy sometimes. And they got teams of people under them running their shit for them. And those are the kind of people that I would eventually run into problems with, strangely enough, and would actually come to my sites and attack me and try to rip me apart. Very, very strange. But for the most part, smaller people, obviously 1.26 thousand. I look at Esteldan as a big person, but I know in the grand scheme of things, he's not yet. But let's help to get him up with some more subscribers. Drop down below also and check out the links to my stuff as well. I've got other channels. I do gaming. I do Skyrim gaming, modded Skyrim. We also got the Entertainment News channel. You might have seen the Entertainment News channel. It's right here, right in front of you. And I've got a Twitch channel that I do try to stream once a week, although I had gone through a spate where I was working a lot and had a lot of upheaval in work and wasn't able to. Back doing it now. And what else today? Oh, we got a Discord channel as well. Love to have you drop into any of these, sign up for any of these, follow any of these, ring the bell for notifications, comment, view, do all that great stuff. It really helps me out. And I do appreciate your views so much. Keep on being good people and keep on keeping your eyes and your ears open to the entertainment news. This is the entertainment we live by, gaming for a lot of us, other things that I will cover on this channel as well. And it's important to get the news and to get different views on it, because we need to be able to form an opinion by hearing enough and seeing enough to be able to form our own opinion and be rational about it. I mean, sometimes we're going to rant, but to be rational about it. So thank you to Esteldan. Thank you to all you. And we will see you again here on Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread. Bye-bye.